Hello and welcome everybody to the new and improved, as my dad calls it, Kerith Acres. This is the promised property tour of our new homestead. And the reason our side-by-side is debuting in this video is because our new and improved Kerith Acres comes equipped with this bad boy right here. This is the quite literal quarter-mile driveway. As you can see, or more accurately, as you can't see the house because it's just a bunch of driveway. So we'll eventually get up there, but this is the entrance to the new farm, our new fancy mailbox that we put up. It goes from just about that road right over there. That is 70th Street, and that's where our property starts. It's not very wide. Those trees over there in the background are the other side of the border. There's actually another driveway on that side. It's less of an official driveway. One of the previous owners timbered out the property, and I believe he put that driveway in order to allow larger trucks to come down and take loads of lumber away. It's kind of a gravel, now quite overgrown with grass, road or driveway, but it works and allows us to have a nice place to drive the side-by-side or the tractor or anything else down to access this front area here. So we'll leave the side-by-side for just a moment, and I will show you the very front of the property. So the front, what we will say 10 acres-ish of the property is mostly pasture. And you'll have to forgive the video and audio. We have to use our phones for now. Someday we'll upgrade, but for now we use the phones. So this is the pasture, and it was very, very nice that when we purchased it, it was completely fenced. And so this is the front pasture. You'll see right up there is our livestock barn. This pasture is actually divided into two main pastures and then a transition section in the middle. The pasture, if you take a little closer look, you'll see some of that dried, dead weeds in it. I don't know what the technical term for them are, but it's essentially lets you know that the pasture is not the highest of qualities. And so this would probably be effective for someone to like part-term livestock on, just to keep it trimmed down, but it's not going to be super high quality hay that we're going to be able to harvest and sell or anything, at least not yet. So we'll work on getting a little bit better pasture once we have time and money and different things to upgrade and work with the land. So that is the front pasture, and we will go get the side-by-side and go up and take a look at the rear main pasture and also the livestock barn. So a couple of things you may have noticed on that nice little ride. That took us about a minute at 15 miles an hour to cover not even the entire driveway. So I wasn't teasing. I wasn't being facetious when I said we had a quarter-mile driveway. This is the front pasture or rear main pasture, depending on which direction you're looking from. But this is the other main pasture in the livestock barn. So we'll go take a look at that. And you may be wondering, why does my dad call it the new and improved Kerith Acres? Well, we've had Kerith Acres, the farm, for almost 2 years probably. And as some of you may know from other videos or YouTube or Facebook posts, that I am a minister. And for the last 7 years, we have been living in the church's parsonage. And that parsonage sits on right around half an acre. And so we've been doing what we could with that property, growing tomatoes, peppers, and different things to make my wife's, what I will call famous salsa that we've been selling. And so this is new and improved because, one, it's new to us, and it's improved because 22 acres is a significant improvement over half an acre when it comes to having space to farm. And so that is why it is the new and improved Kerith Acres. So this is the livestock barn. Needs a little work, but in general, good bones. And yes, John Deere parking only. We're going to go ahead and violate that because we did not buy a John Deere. I know. I love John Deere. My whole family loves John Deere. But John Deere wanted too much money for their tractor. So we did not buy a John Deere. So multiple stalls. It does have electrical, lights, outlets. And this is access out to what I would call the transition pasture. That is in of itself sectioned off. It has a small section. That's the other side of that front pasture I showed you. And this, as we get to it, is the built-in chicken coop, which we were very, very happy to find. I didn't get a good look at this barn when we came to look at the property the first time. And so this nice, mostly complete chicken coop was a nice surprise for me. It does require some work before we can fill it with hens that will give us eggs and meat. But another one of those projects that requires time and money that we don't currently have, but we will be working on. I will also do some work on that. These are the other stalls, and you can see it has different lanes for moving animals around, another stall with access out to that transition pasture, and then this is the inside portion of said chicken coop. Nesting box is already built in, and super handy dandy light. Already has electricity. So I'm excited about the potential of that. I'm not gonna lie, as I was looking through the camera and opening that chicken coop door, I had a fleeting flash of an animal residing in there and leaping out at me because we don't get out here very often. That is the livestock barn. And up next, I will take you up to the new house and a couple of the other buildings. This would be our current livestock. This is the new house with a garage for the wife. This is what they've taken to calling the hay barn. That upper door in the center does open up directly into a separated upper level, and then this has its own open level, and there's some shelving and storage in there. And I would love to show it to you, but you'll notice the padlock on the door. That is our padlock, but somehow between moving and a spouse and 2 kids, the keys have disappeared. So can't really show you that. And here is the pole barn. I guess I do technically have a John Deere, but we sold that one when we bought the new tractor, so they just haven't picked it up yet. That was super smooth. This is the main workshop, well lit. Has a power box out here that controls everything. Nice workbench. I'll be upgrading to some LED lights. And this is probably my favorite part about it. It has its own furnace. Some insulation, needs more clearly, but it is a climate controlled workspace, and I am excited about that, at least in the wintertime. And this is part 2. And this will be the wood shop, because it looks like it already was a wood shop. It has some tools that were left behind for us. Again, needs upgraded to some LED lighting. But has some shelves, also climate controlled. And this is the inside access to the kennels that I will show you. At some point, somebody here had kennels. I don't know if they were raising dogs themselves or if they were boarding animals or what was going on, but what'd you get into? What'd you get into? This is the additional overhang, also with electrical. Plenty of storage. We were originally going to make this into a double-sided coop so that we could have the chickens on one side and then switch them to the other side when we wanted to clean that side out, but we already have a chicken coop, so we actually don't know what we're going to do with this particular area yet. If you have any ideas, please leave them in the comments or post them on our Facebook page. And then you have the kennels, which we are considering converting into some type of rabbit hutch. And then we have a fenced-in portion of the backyard, which is handy for the one livestock we do have. Yeah, you almost biffed it into the fence there, didn't you? Do you ever remember being that excited for no apparent reason other than getting to be outside? Well, what's that? And this is the back side of the quote-unquote hay barn with access up to that second story. We might be able to, I doubt we can see in through the window. So the backyard. There will be additional videos, one in particular dedicated to the introduction of this monster right here. And I say that a little tongue-in-cheek because Wiley is a subcompact. And he's back here because he's been helping us do a lot of things. If you've been paying attention to our Facebook page, you'll notice that we've been dealing with mold and mildew because they had a hot tub in the master bathroom. And so we actually used Wiley to yank it out from the lower portion of the bathroom wall, which was already open, I assume for that reason. And we cut it in half, and then we used Wiley to deliver it to the trailer, which you saw probably in the background of this previous video. And over to the side yard. Where I will walk you up to the garden. One of the reasons we're not inside is because they're installing our new carpet, which is how we found the mold and mildew in the first place, by taking up the old floor. So let that be a lesson to all of you who get brilliant ideas to make upgrades to your house. It's probably going to mean more and more projects. Starting here at this end of the garden on the outside, you will see our grapevines. I don't know if they are productive or not. Time will tell. They did have blossoms on them, and they do have some live leaves on them, but I'm not holding my breath for something fantastic here. So we'll see what comes of those. They may end up being removed, I'm not sure. This was one of our other favorite aspects of the property. The fact that they already had a garden and it is already deer fenced. Though we did find out that the deer fencing is wholly ineffective if you leave the gate open. We came over here from the other house one night to find a couple of deer in that side inside the gate because we had left it open. Luckily we don't have anything planted quite yet. As you can see, it's turning into its own hayfield. We're working on that. We actually ordered a tiller with our tractor, but it has yet to arrive. And so if we don't figure out something soon, we might skip this year's planting. We're just not quite sure yet. We do have some fruit trees over here also in the garden. These 3 at least are fruit trees. Not entirely sure what ones. I'm assuming apple on most of them, or 2 out of the 3 of them, but we're not exactly positive yet. So this is where the salsa magic will happen. And I will take you now into the back half of the property, as the house sits right about midway between front and rear. That's our tour of the new and improved Kerith Acres. Stick around as we make mistakes for you to laugh at and learn from, and see what happens with the farm.